I thank you all so very much for allowing me to be here. I think this is an amazing program. Just to be amongst a different group of people has been enlightening for me. As you read, I am a business professor. I do business. I love business. That's my passion. So when I realized that I was coming to a civil engineering area, I said, okay, well, how am I going to correlate the two? But realizing that economic development is the base for business, and so because civil engineering, business is the foundation for all practices, I said that's where I fit in. So I am going to begin with telling you a little bit about myself, and then we're going to get into me discussing future logistics and how it applies to you. All right? So I need you all's undivided attention. I know I'm the last one. However, I believe there's some pertinent information. So get your questions ready because we're going to have a lot to discuss. Okay? All righty. So, when they read your bio, they say all these amazing things about who you are and what you do and so on and so forth, but they don't say how you were able to get to where you are. So if you look at my bio, they'll say, well, she started at Lincoln University in 1993, but she didn't graduate until 2000. What happened in between there? Well, who said something? What was that? Life. Life happens, absolutely. So when I got to college, everything was great, right? Initially starting off, everything was great. I was declared a nursing major, right? Because my parents, they say, Andrea, you're going to be a phenomenal nursing major. You're going to be great at nursing. You're so good with people, and you smile, and you're nice, and so on and so forth. But when I got to school, my smile and my attitude didn't match up with my grades, right? So after going to school for my parents for 2 years, because, your parents, they tell you what your degree should be. Well, my parents did. They say, Andrea, let's do this. I think you'll be great. Well, I didn't have the passion for it. I didn't have the desire to do it. And then I was not passing the science classes. But one thing I was good at was partying, right? So I learned how to party really good because that was a distraction for me. It helped me to kind of get over the hump. Well, because my parents were paying for my tuition out of pocket, my dad realized that, hey, you're getting D's and F's in these science classes, so I'm going to bring you home. And so for a year and a half, I had to stay home. My parents came and picked me up from college. I had to stay home for a year and a half. During that time frame, my dad made me work and go to community college. So while I was at work, I had to work at a plant. I was working at Capri Sun. At this warehouse, this Capri Sun warehouse, I was working with popsicles and the actual Capri Suns, boxing them up, sending them along the conveyor belt, so on and so forth. Well, it was 120 degrees in this warehouse. Now, me being the person that I am, I had a certain expectation of life. I was extremely spoiled, daddy's girl, the whole nine. And so my dad, he made me work every day. I had to be at work at 5:30. I didn't get off work until 4, and he was gracious enough to make sure I was there at 5:30 on time every day, and that he was there when I got off work as well. And so he would always greet me and say, hey, Andrea, how was your day? It sucked. I hated this job. So, so eventually I started talking to the people around me, and this was their primary job. And so they said, I got to go pay rent. I have to pay my electric bill. I have to do all these things out of this paycheck. And so that's when the light bulb clicked on for me to say, hey, I have to go back to school and I have to do better. And I have to find myself in this process. So every day I would beg my dad, please take me back to school. Please give me another chance. I promise I'm going to do my work, and so on and so forth. Long and behold, he still made me wait. So I had to wait, and I had to prove myself to show that I was prepared. And so once I proved myself to show that I was prepared, once he signed my promissory note for the bill that he didn't pay before, he paid my bill. And so when I went back to work, the lady says, hey, you need to fix this. You need to get this stuff off this conveyor belt. It's jamming everything up. And so when I knew that my dad was paying my tuition, I said, you pick it up yourself. I quit. And so that was the beginning of my new beginning. So when I started work, when I went back to school, guess who was on the dean's list? Me. Guess who figured out life at that point, how education was important? Me. And guess who knew that the importance of education was going to change your economic status? Me. So after all of that, I realized that, hey, this is important. I need to figure out what I need to do and find that pathway that was passionate for me. So I began to do my internships and start getting connected with the different advisors in my office, and I love what they did. And so they took me under their wings, became my mentors, and so on and so forth. And so it was extremely helpful for me, and they helped me along the way. So when I realized that it was time for me to graduate, well, let me back up a little bit. So after I got back to school after a year, started having a little bit more fun, and I got pregnant, right? Yes, I was doing great. I got pregnant, right? So after I had my baby, I knew the expectations that I had for my life. And I knew that with me being in charge of another human being, that I really had to be on my A game. Because I refused, and this is just my own personal thing, probably shouldn't say this on camera, but I refused to be that mother with the dirty stroller and the dirty diaper bag. And I refused to have less than for my child. So whatever that looked like, I was willing to do. So I began to take 18, 20 hours per semester. You realize what you're made of when you're being put to the test. So that's what I did. So long story short, I completed my bachelor's in the year 2000. Then after completing my bachelor's in the year 2000, I really got on the speed because I realized what I needed. Then I completed my master's in business administration in 2003. Thought I was going to do my PhD in social economics, because I thought that I wanted to study the topic about taxes and how high they are in the impoverished neighborhoods. But after realizing that I didn't want to study any more math and so on and so forth, I said, skip that. However, I was too far in the degree program to quit, so I went ahead and finished my second degree. Now I'm in the process of completing my doctorate in business administration with emphasis on management and leadership, and I will be finished. I will be an ABD in December of this year. Yes, December of this year. Yes. So yes. So with the SBA, I was able to write the proposals for Lincoln University. They wanted a small business development center on campus because they wanted to help the minorities within the community and wanted to really develop the economics within the area. So I wrote the proposal, we got approved, so on and so forth. But I was able to start with just a pen and piece of paper. You know how when people have a vision and they say, hey, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I want you to make it happen. So here's this pen and piece of paper and you do it. So long story short, within the first year, I was able to gather 56 clients with helping existing and startup companies. And 3 of my clients were able to go to Washington, D.C. with my assistance. And then we generated more than $500,000 in loans to help them with their startup working capital. So this is where I think I fit in, guys. Currently, I'm working with MODOT DBEs because what I'm finding out with the DBEs is that a lot of the minorities within the civil engineering or any engineering capacity, that there is a big pay gap between how the women are paid versus the men. So one of my clients in particular, she has the same skill set as her peer. The company that is a DBE pays her $11 an hour, however, pays the guy $30 an hour. And because she is wanting to get her name out there, she is trying all that she can, and she's been accepting this pay for the last 5 years. And so this has been ongoing, but she doesn't know how to break out of the barriers and how to overcome it. So I just think that is just a really disparity, but I'm trying to help her because a lot of that is confidence. And so once her voice is heard, I think everything else will change as well. And like he mentioned last week, I was one of 17 women of the year. So hopefully, thank you guys. Thank you. So well, at the end of the month, you should see my journal, so I'll share it with you guys. And then people ask me all the time, what inspires me? What keeps me going? What drives me? I'm a family girl. I'm a faith girl. So my faith and my family, they drive me. It is the basis of who I am. That is the fabric of my DNA, and I don't know what else it would look like. I married my college sweetheart. We met the first year of orientation. This is my daughter. She is the reason for the season. She's the reason that gave me ignition to move things forward. And, you know, even when I get nervous about what I'm doing, she always tells me, she says, Mom, don't act like the new student to the class that you already teach. And so I just think that that was phenomenal, because out of the mouth of the babe, you know, it does tell you what you're doing. And these are all my 3 babies. My daughter's 20, my son's 15, and my baby boy, he's 10. So that's who I am. And so as you know who I am, you'll begin to understand how I do what I do and what inspires me and motivates me to continue on. So as we begin to look at the future logistics, what you need to understand is that what we once knew about daily functions of the world is no longer. Things are rapidly changing before our eyes. According to Robinson in 2016, he stated that the distribution system is changing. It is different from yesterday. Therefore, if businesses cannot adapt, they will be left behind. They will be left behind. And I just thought that was absolutely amazing as we began to look at the news and see how things are transpiring right before our eyes. You know, we look up, how many of you all have iPhones? Yes. How many of you all update every time iPhone updates? No. You guys have a lot of money. So when you think about just iPhone alone, there are so many things that are going on with iPhone. Like, how can you keep up? How can you really keep up with the trending things that are going on? And then if you don't have the money or the resources or even the know-how to find this information, again, you're going to be left behind, right? So when I look at the news, you see Amazon everywhere. Amazon has set the trend for logistics. Amazon is taking over the world. If you don't know about Amazon, or if you're not familiar with what all they do, I highly recommend that you do get to know or start taking some time to research. But newsflash, Grossman, the vice president of Channelytics, says that companies used to capture customers on their own terms. This may be corny to y'all, but I thought this was really cool. Companies used to capture customers on their own terms. Now they have to address them on their own terms. It's no longer a transaction, but an experience and a convenience. So we are now looking for the experience. People ask me all the time, what are you doing? What do you want to do? I'm looking for the experience. Well, it costs too much. I'm looking for the experience. It's all about me, what I feel, how I want to do it, so on and so forth. And then convenience. So we want to be convenienced. No one wants to leave outside of their jobs. No one wants to do anything. However, we have now been we're now, with the way technology is set up, we don't have to do anything that we do not want to do, right? So Amazon accounted for 60% of U.S. online sales growth in 2016. According to Forrester Research, the Amazon effect is driving change through the retail, supply chain, and the logistics industries. So when you think about all of these things, you're looking at the drone, right? You all have seen the drone. And I know a lot of you all are much younger than I am. But I remember when the drone first came out, when they first introduced it, and they were talking about it was going to be warfare and all this other stuff and so on and so forth, not knowing that they had another system in place that was going to, I don't want to say disrupt the economy, but it did disrupt some things. Because now the mail services, they have done a lot of layoffs. The mail services have done a lot of layoffs. The delivery companies have done a lot of layoffs because of how they were needed before. They're no longer needed anymore. Hold on. Let me give you an example. Hold on, guys. Just hold on. Wait for me. All right. So this is just an example of how it works. I guess I don't have any sound. Can you guys hear anything? No. But you can see. Yeah, you get it. I wanted you to hear the words. Can you hear the sound at all? Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. So that's a delivery package.
It's probably close.
Yeah, it's part of the next
Great. Okay, so this is Amazon Prime Air. Now, the great thing about Amazon Prime Air is that it has, hold on one second here. It has reduced, the great thing about Prime Air is that it has reduced the amount of time that people need anything. So Amazon Prime Air, it now allows you to order something within 2 hours from anywhere, and they will have that delivered. They allow you to order anything within a certain time frame, and typically within 2 hours, you will have your package delivered to your door. So if you order some groceries that morning, by the evening time, by midday, you will have all of your ingredients and everything that you need to do whatever that you're trying to do. Again, you don't have to leave the house. And then you have the omni-channel. How many of you all have heard of the omni-channel? Only one person has heard of the omni-channel. Well, the omni-channel is a place that you can go where all of the stores are beginning to link in to put their products in. So there's no longer going to be a lot of brick and mortar stores, meaning stores that you can walk into, but yet they have online stores that will give you everything that you need, and you do not have to leave the comfort of your home. So again, the Omni Store is the ability of consumers to buy anything from anywhere in stores and online, from phone, tablets, computers, and pick it up and have it delivered by multiple options. Has companies investing more in technology and moving toward warehouse managing systems to streamline their back-end processes. Again, all of these jobs, all of these things that are being implemented are reducing manpower. So what used to take 10 to 20 people to do, now you have one person operating a remote and sending it out, right? Okay. And then we have our transportation. We talked about this. Dr. Larry talked about this a little bit in his presentation. However, this has now been implemented. This is now being implemented in Cleveland. Dang it. Oh, well, I can't make it bigger, but you guys get it. Can you imagine being on a highway with this 18-wheeler that's driving by itself next to you? Yes? I mean, it probably has already happened, but just think about how things were at the beginning and how they are rapidly progressing to something else. Again, this is reducing the manpower that we need to manage and operate and do distribution within the country. Uber taking over. Yeah. And then they said that with this, with the automatic driving for the 18-wheeler, that it does pick up if people are, if humans are walking. But what about the animals that run it? I mean, not to say that I won't run them over either, but just think about all the other things that could take place at this, at any opportunity. What if there's an accident? Does it continue to go through? You know, I don't know if they have found out all of those, all that information or not. However, I think that's something that they definitely need to fine tune in order to make it work. And then you have the RFID. And who knows what that is? Who's heard of that? Yes? Can you tell me what that is?
You mean my first textbook?
However you choose to.
It's invisible inventory. It's a way to track inventory throughout the supply chain visually.
Right. So it's able to track the inventory for supplying and for the supplies that are coming into the different warehouses. And so what I find that to be amazing is because within just the state of Missouri, there have been so many layoffs because they have replaced people with machines. So even with the people that will stand up and fill the bottles up and twist the caps and so on and so forth, they now have technology to do everything. You do not have to do anything. And even with the books, the warehouse for the books, they also have different systems that instead of the conveyor belts, you putting everything on it. Now they have it to where it goes by size and so on and so forth. So here is my last video, and then we're wrapping up here very quickly. But it just shows you how things are progressing and moving fairly quickly and eliminating a lot of jobs.
The time factor plays a key role in the process of getting a product from its manufacturer to its point of sale, because time is money. RFID, radio frequency identification, is a new technology that significantly increases the efficiency of this process chain. With RFID, data are transferred without physical contact. In addition, RFID helps positively identify shipping units. In an instant, valuable information is recorded and utilized on an international scale. This example demonstrates how it functions in practice. The process chain begins with production and continues by way of a central warehouse onto the retailer. In the manufacturer's warehouse, goods are prepared for distribution to retailers. Without RFID, order picking of mixed pallets for delivery to department stores or supermarkets can be extremely time-consuming. Why? Because it requires a whole series of individual steps, most of them manual. In future, processes that now have to be carried out by hand will function automatically based on RFID. The key is the RFID transponder, which can be affixed to boxes and pallets as early as the production stage. Communication between transponders and RFID readers is fully automatic. They practically do the work by themselves. Readers installed at various sorting and order picking process register the electronic product codes stored on the transponders the moment they come into range. These data are immediately transferred to the central logistics and merchandise management system. Within seconds, the goods delivered are compared in detail with the goods ordered. Even transport and sorting in the warehouse can be automated in future. RFID tags indicate where each product belongs. This enables the hanger goods sorter, for example, to transport the merchandise to its intended destination. The faster the goods leave the warehouse, the more efficient the process. Processing incoming goods by today's methods is also quite labor-intensive, and so is warehouse management, sorting and positioning the goods, because a large proportion of the processes must be carried out manually. Here too, in the incoming goods area, RFID is set to considerably accelerate processes in future. The fully automated reader registers the relevant information as goods enter the gate. The data are transferred directly to the merchandise management system. A single reader is capable of registering up to 40 RFID transponders in 1 second.
40 in 1 second.
Savings of 10 minutes for each truck. A major plus in cost effectiveness, because the merchandise reaches its destination much faster, and both manpower and means of transport are utilized more efficiently. In the warehouse, forklifts and high shelves will be equipped with RFID technology, which will automatically indicate to the operator the storage position of each product. When the employee sorts the goods into the correct place, confirmation is given via touchscreen monitor. If he or she selects the wrong place for the product, an error is indicated. This way, RFID helps ensure that the goods are always in the right places. And
Okay, so, all right. So I think you guys get the point of where they're going with that. But with all of this, I need to ask the question, what is the common denominator in all of the new logistics that are taking place? Who can tell me? No people. Absolutely. And what else? Reducing time. Efficiency. What else? Convenience. What else? What else? Yes.
It's a faster pace of
Okay, a faster pace. What did you say? Who said that? Who said? Technology. Absolutely. So with all of the technology, they do not want any errors. They're trying to reduce costs. They're trying to reduce all of those things. So based on the different types of areas of interest that you're looking to go into, I need you to find out, where do you fit in this? How is it? Why is it important? Why does grad school fit into what's going on with the new technology and the new logistics? How does that matter to you, and how would it impact you? Who can answer that question for me? Yes.
My name is Madison Turner, University, junior senior.
You guys make me so proud, but go ahead.
I think it's impactful to go to grad school because it makes us more valuable and more competitive versus machines. We're in an age now where technology is currently advancing. Like I said, we have chaos. A lot of people are losing jobs or not able to obtain one. So man has to be smarter than machine in order for us to still be productive.
Absolutely. So outside of doing the coursework and so on and so forth, what else is necessary? What else is necessary? Yes.
My name is Ruth Kirkland from the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore in electrical engineering. I was going to say that going into graduate studies, as far as research, you get to be a part of the progression.
Yes.
You get to do the research to see where the world is going next. You get to be part of the change. And if you stay in the days now and you just want to go to work, which is not a bad thing, you're just not going to be a part of the change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which means what?
You get left behind.
You get left behind. Absolutely. So if you're not a part of the solution, if you're not studying the trends, if you don't see what's going on, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be left behind. So all the degree, all the knowledge, and all of that is good. However, what I have come to understand is that if you don't have life application, if you don't have social capital, if you don't have all of those components included in what your goals and aspirations are, again, you are going to be left behind. So it is so important to make sure that whatever you're doing, you need to be studying the trend. You need to get certified in your areas. You need to have those professional development classes. You need to get under a mentor. You need to do all of those things because, again, it's not just going through the ropes of getting knowledge, but you want to be able to apply your knowledge, right? Yes?